Good morning.
Today's Day of Learning has been sponsored in memory of Louis P. Steinberg, Pesach Le Ben Chaim, by his son Barry, and Neshama Shavan Aliyah.
Amen.
Okay, so we're doing Perek Yud, Chapter 10, Mishna Vav, Mishna 6. We began it yesterday. We'll just quickly run through the beginning. Shemeres Yavam, a woman waiting for Yibam, Bein Yavam Echa, Bein Shnei Yavamin, whether she is bound for Yibam to one brother-in-law or to two. Rebbe Eliezer Omer Yafer, Rebbe Eliezer says that the one who makes Maimer, the Kedushin on the Yavama, is the one who can annul her vow together with her father. Rebbe Yeshua says that if there's one brother-in-law, then he has the power to cancel her Nedarim by himself. He's considered like a husband. But not if there are two brothers, two brothers-in-law. Rabbi Akiva says, whether there's one brother-in-law, two brothers-in-law, a Yavim never has the power to cancel her neder. Now, again, just to quickly review the understanding behind each opinion, because we need that for the next half of the Mishnah. That's the new part. According to Belezer, who says that the Yavim can cancel the vow, according to him, Maimer, the Kedushin man on the Yavama, has the power, Minat Torah, according to Torah law, to make her like a woman who is betrothed to him. And therefore, he and the father will together cancel the vows. According to Yeshua, the Maimer has no effect, but rather the mere fact that she is bound to one brother, there is one brother who will who has the ability to do Yibam on her, that gives him the power alone to cancel her Nedarim. According to Akiva, Maimer doesn't make a difference. The fact that there's a connection for Yibam doesn't make a difference. A Yavim never has the power to cancel the vows of his Yavama until he actually is kindness her, until actually performs Yibam, she becomes his full-fledged wife, then he'll cancel her Nedarim like any husband can. So now we're going to have a back and forth between the opinions in the Mishnah, each one a back and forth about trying to prove the point. So Rebbe Eliezer said, Ma'im isha shekanahu la'atzmai. We find that a man acquires for himself, without any previous connection, meaning he acquires her through Erison, through Kedushin. He gains the power to cancel her vows, together with the father, that is. A woman that they already gave him from heaven. Shouldn't it follow that he should be able to annul her vow, to cancel her vows? Rabbi Eliezer is trying to prove his point. Now, again, his point is based on the fact that he holds Maimer is like a Kedushin, has the power of a regular Kedushin. And therefore, his point is that if you go to a woman, you have no connection to her whatsoever, but you make Kedushin on her, you now gain the power to cancel her vow, together with the father. So a woman who you already have a connection with, because the fact that his brother died without children makes a yibam bond between the brother-in-law and the sister-in-law. There already is some kind of marriage connection to them. All the more so, we should say that the Maimer, who acts as a Kedushin, should give him the power to be able to annul, to cancel her vow. That's an argument he makes. He's making a kind of a Kal V'chomer, where he's saying if over here it works, all the more so it should work over here. Omar lo Rabbi Akiva. So Rabbi Akiva responded to him, no, you can't make the comparison. When you're talking about a woman that he acquired for himself, no one else had any kind of domain, any kind of control over her. But what are you going to say by a woman that, although they did give her to him at a certain level for marriage from heaven, but there are others who have a certain level of control of rights over her. Meaning, my understanding is Rabbi Akiva is responding to Rebbe Eliezer, even with the understanding that Rebbe Eliezer is working with the fact that Maimer works as a Kedushin. But nonetheless, he argues and he says, your argument is that the woman who he had no connection with before is, so to speak, weaker than the one that he already had a connection before the Maimer, because Minashamayim, they already gave her to him as a wife at the level of for yibum, for the possibility of yibum. Says Rabbi Akiva, there's a difference. The woman who you never had any connection with before, no one else had connection with her either. But in this case, when you're talking about a Yavama, if there's more than one brother, it's not only one brother who has a Yibam connection, a Yibam bond, this level of marriage bond with her, others also do. And if others also do, that actually says that she's actually in a certain weaker state when you go ahead and do the mimer on her. Because she has somebody else besides the person who makes mimer, there were other people there too. So the fact that there are other people there too, meaning there are other brothers there also, who also had a certain right, who also has certain rights over her, actually makes her weaker in that sense. You're weaker if someone else you're weaker if you have something, but somebody else also has it, which understandably from a marriage perspective is a weaker kind of bond if somebody else also has that same bond with her, than if you have no bond at all. So therefore, that is how Rabbi Akiva responded to Rebbe Lezer. But as will be pointed out very soon, the whole point of Rabbi Akiva was that others besides the Yavim, besides the brother-in-law who made Yibam, there was another who made Maimer, there was another brother who could have done it also. But that's only when there are two brothers-in-law. Amar Rabbi Yeshua said to him, Akiva, Devarecha b'shnei Yavamin, your words apply by two Yavim. When there are two brothers-in-law who have a Yibam bond. What are you going to say when there's only one Yavim? When there's only one Yavim, again, it comes out by one Yavim. Let me read it to you here. He is then the only person who has a bond with the Yavama. And the bond between them is stronger than that of a regular betrothed couple, since Yava's bond came automatically from heaven, while an ordinary Aris created the bond with Arusa on his own. Meaning he's coming out from a different argument. You want to go ahead and say that there's something about the fact when there are two Yavamin, that two people have rights on her, and that makes each one of them weaker, fine. But what if there's only one Yavim? There's only one Yavim. There's only one. He is the only one who has any kind of Yibam bond for her. Okay? And not only that, the fact that we can make an argument again based on the fact that by a regular Aris, he has to go ahead on his own and do it because there was nothing before. But here by Yavama, already min hashmaim, from heaven, they already gave her to him at a certain level. In a case of a regular Aris, meaning making kedushin on her, no connection whatsoever before. Fine. But over here, where there already is going to be, so that initially makes him weak. It makes him weak in the sense that because there's no bond, he has to make the bond. He's got to create it. However, in the case of where there's one Yavim, the bond is stronger than the regular bond of Erisin, because over here, you don't have to do anything. She's automatically yours. She automatically has that bond. And according to Rabbi Yeshua, that bond alone, even before Yibam, even without Maimer, makes her like you're married to her in regard to Nedarim. So therefore, he says you can respond that when there's two, the fact that both have rights on her, all right, that weakens each one. But what if there's only one? There's only one. He's the only one with the Yibam bond. And the Yibam bond came to him automatically. He didn't have to do anything about it. In a regular case of Erisin, he's got to make it. Here, he didn't have to make anything. They just gave it to him. So therefore, in that sense, he's stronger. And therefore, that's my argument. That's my argument to say that when there's one Yavim, that one Yavim can cancel. Oh, my Lord, Rabbi Kiva said to him, so Rabbi Kiva now responded to him coming from a different angle. A Yavama is not complete to her brother-in-law as a woman who's betrothed is to her husband, to the man who betrothed her. Rabbi Kiva's response is that, look at it from a different angle. If, let's say, a Yavama, she only has one brother-in-law in waiting, she's got a connection to him, she goes and she cohabits with another man, what happens to her? She didn't commit adultery. There's only a lav, there's a prohibition for a woman to go marry someone else, to cohabit with someone else when she's waiting for Yibam. It's a lav, it's a prohibition. If an Arusa, she didn't go to Chuppah yet, but if an Arusa were to cohabit with another man, what would happen to her? She'd be Chayiv Misa. It's adultery. It's 100% adultery. So therefore, it says Rabbi Akiva, the connection of an arusa to an aris is much stronger than the connection of a yavama to her yavam. An arusa, a woman betrothed to a man, she's his wife. Point being that were she to go ahead and commit adultery, that she'd be liable to a death punishment. Let's say they want to break up, they don't want to go to the chuppah. She needs a get. She's full-fledged married. She just not completely in the sense they can't live together. But a yavama and a yavam and a yavama, yes, there is a connection. It's a connection given to them from heaven. You didn't have to know anything about that connection. But that connection doesn't compare to the connection of an aris and arusa. And therefore, by the case of the man who betrothed the woman, he will have the rights to cancel her neder, albeit together with the father, when he's just an aris. But which is not so by yavam and yavama, where it's only a yibam bond. Says Rebbe Kiva, that's not enough to make her like a wife. You should have any kind of ability to go ahead and to cancel her nedarim. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.